And welcome to Beerfield Fantasy Football Shots. It is week 3 of the NFL season, just getting started on Friday, September 22nd. I forgot what month it was for a second, 2017. I'm your host, at Hop BFF, HOPP BFF. Before we go ahead and get started with some DFS picks for the week, be sure to check out the podcast, Beerfield Fantasy Football. We are on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, at Beerfield FF on Twitter. Tweet your questions to us. We're very active over there. We'll give you whatever you need to know to the best of our abilities. So, without further ado or further self-promotion, let's go ahead and jump into some DFS picks.
Hopper's Weekly Beer Money DFS Picks.
As always with DFS, we'll be giving you a pay for, so a guy that has a very, very high floor that you should be more than comfortable putting money out on, and very, very big potential. We'll cover a safe guy whose ceiling might not necessarily be as high, but they do have a decent floor and are kind of in the mid-tier price range. And we'll cover a steal, somebody that may not be highly regarded this week, but could go off and put up a really good game based on situation, historical data, whatever. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with quarterback. At quarterback, my pay for guy is going to be Cam Newton. Cam Newton has the Saints. It's a bad pass defense. They should be able to get the ball to Benjamin, Funchess, McCaffrey, spread it out a little more, especially at 30 to 35 pass attempts for Cameron Newton. So I expect Cam Newton to have his first top 10 game of the season. He's going for 6,600 over on DraftKings. The safe bet is going to be Matthew Stafford. He's going for 6,200 over on DraftKings. He's actually our QB4 this week. We love this matchup. We love this game script. Atlanta's going to be without Vic Beasley, so without their pass rusher. Stafford should be able to throw the ball all over the freaking place. He's not going to get game scripted out, as this should turn into a relative shootout between Atlanta and Detroit. So Matthew Stafford at $6,200 as our QB4 should be a steal. And speaking of steals, our kind of late round throw here is going to be Trevor Siemian. He was playing Buffalo. Buffalo's got a bad offense. I don't think they'll be able to run the ball much, though, so he's going to have to pass a little bit for a couple touchdowns. His ceiling is not very high, but the floor should be there, as we've seen through the first couple of weeks. He's going for 5,500. Moving on to running backs, my pay for guy here is going to be Jay Ajayi against the Jets. Not much analysis needed here. Duh, he's playing the Jets. Knee injuries aren't expected to be serious for Ajayi. He's going for 7,700. He's a running back 2 this week, facing that poor Jets defense. So Jay Ajayi should be locked and loaded. As for my safe pick, there's actually 2 guys here. They're $100 apart. It's going to be Derrick Henry and James White. They're going for $5,300 and $5,400 respectively. Derrick Henry's rated as my running back 10. DeMarco Murray may or may not go. Even if he does go, should lose a significant amount of the workload to Henry, and I expect them to try to keep him fresh by keeping him on the sidelines a little bit. The other one is going to be James White for a completely different reason. He's not feeling as a primary runner, but this is a game where I think New England is going to have problems running the ball against the Texans' front 7. So I like James White as the pass catcher out of the backfield to have a good game and get his fair share of handoffs and take the majority of the work, especially missing Rex Burkhead. And my steal is going for $4,800. That's going to be Isaiah Crowell. Crowell's been a consensus top 10 guy. He's kind of dudded in the first 2 weeks, or really dudded in the first 2 weeks. They are going up against Indianapolis, so that defense is going to be terrible. There's a team that Crow's going to get it done against. It should be the Colts. So go ahead and load up and start your Isaiah Crowells. If he works for you, great. If not, drop him on Monday morning. Over a wide receiver. My pay for guy there is going to be Antonio Brown. He's going for $9,000 up against the Bears. Even if they have a Nakamura, even if they put Marcus Cooper on him, there's not going to be a whole lot that they can do to contain Antonio Brown or stop Antonio Brown. Look for him to feast. On the safe side, Kelvin Benjamin, $6,700. You can really just take everything I said about Cam and apply it to Kelvin Benjamin. He's playing the Saints. No Greg Olsen should mean an increase in targets. He should be a locked and loaded wide receiver 1 this week. He's going for $6,700, and it is our wide receiver 9. And our steal this week is going for $5,600. It's going to be Devontae Adams. Devonta Adams, with an ailing Jordy Nelson and a missing in action Randall Cobb, should be locked and loaded as the wide receiver 1 here. Bare worst, he's going to be a wide receiver 2. The upside is going to be massive, and if they need a place to go with the ball, especially with a hobbled Randall Cobb with the shoulder and whatnot, I would definitely be looking to Devonta Adams to put up some points. At tight end, your pay for is going to be Travis Kelce. Not a whole lot to say here. He's been over 7 catches and 90-plus yards the last 2 games. Wow, that was Zach Ertz's stat line. So Travis Kelce is just a freaking superstar. So you're going to go ahead and try to start him. I believe they're taking on the Chargers, so the matchup is not that terrible. He should feast. It's kind of the move tight end and really their best pass-catching option. Now to Zach Ertz. He's a safe bet. He's going for $5,000. Currently ranked as our tight end 3. He's been over 7 catches and 90-plus yards each of the last 2 weeks. Gives him a really, really nice floor, some really, really decent upside. And my steal of the week is going to be Jack Doyle. Jack Doyle's going for $3,600 with Jacoby Brissett in. He did catch 8 balls. 8 passes were thrown his way. So he looks like he could be getting his feet under him, especially in a PPR format like DraftKings is, or in just a regular home format even. I really, really like Jack Doyle. I liked him at the beginning of the season. They've got a quarterback that can get it to him. So he should be another guy that's safe this week as well amongst a shit show of tight ends. And last but not least, defense. Pay for is going to be Denver. They're placing Buffalo, who has a terrible offense. They're going for $3,600. They're a defense 4. Safe guy is going to be the Minnesota Vikings. They are playing Tampa Bay, so that team does have some firepower to them. The Vikings are typically pretty good at shutdown. It's kind of a bad week for defensive matchups, so these are a little bit harder to pick. But the Vikings are my safe go. And as far as the steal, it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are playing a sputtering Giants offense that hasn't been able to get anything going. The pass rush is awesome. Eric Flowers couldn't stop a leaky faucet, so should be able to get home. Should be really disruptive and a really, really good game, but I definitely expect points out of the Eagles defense.
Hopper's weekly DFS lineup.
All right, and last but certainly not least, my starting lineup for this week. Last week we didn't do too hot, a lot of duds, a lot of underperformers, didn't win any money. So jumping right back in the fire with you this week, though, quarterback, I'm going to be running Matthew Stafford out there. Again, just really like his matchup, really like the potential script. Running backs are going to be Derrick Henry and Isaiah Crowell. Henry, I expect Murray to miss time, so I'm not sticking him in there. Crowell should just be a good, solid play against Indy. As far as wide receivers go, Antonio Brown, Kelvin Benjamin, Devontae Adams. Antonio Brown doesn't need a real introduction. Kelvin Benjamin and Cam Newton appear to have a really, really good rapport, and they did before he got hurt. So I expect Kelvin Benjamin to be targeted heavily there. And then Devontae Adams, it's kind of the same thing with Jordy Nelson. Jordy's banged up. Randall Cobb's not going to play. It should just breed opportunity for Devontae Adams. We've seen him been able to do things with that opportunity before too. Tight end, that's going to be Jack Doyle. Don't really have a rhyme or reason for this other than if you see him, you should probably pick him up, especially this week. Should have a really, really safe floor. Flex spot's going to go to James White. I fully expect the Patriots game to be a James White game. I don't expect them to have a lot of runs up through the middle or between the tackles, especially not using James White. So I definitely do expect Jack Doyle back in the office. I don't expect that he's going to be suspended or face anything additional disciplinary-wise, and he is my tight end start of the week. At flex, I'm going to go James White. I definitely think that this is going to be a James White game in New England. Look, they're not going to run the ball against that front seven, which kind of takes Gillislee out of the equation. And Deion Lewis has been nothing more than an emergency backup. So I definitely think that James White is going to be the way to go here. He should be able to pick up yardages in chunks and give you a little bit of safety because he is a pass-catching running back. So James White is my flex start. And finally, the Eagles' defense, special teams, going to be running them out there against Eli, a sputtering Giants offense, and an offensive coordinator that doesn't want to slide people over to help his tackles that are getting the pants beat off of them. That's all I got for you today. I have been your host at Hot BFF with some DFS fantasy football picks. If you would like some more in-depth analysis, just a longer show, listen to the three of us banter instead of one of us in a silo, please check out Beerfield Fantasy. That's at Beerfield FF on Twitter, Beerfield Fantasy Football on Instagram, and on Facebook, I think. Maybe. Possibly. Anyway, I'm going to get off here before I lose my mind. See y'all.